It honestly almost hurts to look at her because she's so beautiful. Hi there, my name is Tessa, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the outfits at the 2025 Primetime Emmy Awards. But before I get into it, let's get a few things out of the way first. With dozens of celebrities attending the event, I can't talk about every single person. But if there is someone that you think that I missed, leave a comment down below and I'll try to respond. Also, it should be obvious, but this is my opinion. And this video is all in good fun. So please don't take it too seriously if I don't like a random celebrity's outfit. We're gonna start off with Jenna Ortega in Givenchy. This is a reference to Isabella Rossellini's outfit in Death Becomes Her, and it's just one of the many edgy, fashion-forward looks that Jenna's adopted during her Wednesday method dressing. I think it's just the perfect amount of sexy and spooky, and let it be known that I love the bleached brows. The only thing that I would maybe change is the color of the skirt. I feel like black is just a little bit too predictable. Maybe like a really deep oxblood would be a really nice way to tie in some of the stones in the top and also be a closer match to the movie. Next is Scarlett Johansson in Prada. This is one of those, okay, she's pretty and type of looks where you don't even notice the dress, just her. And I suppose there is an argument to be made for that being a good thing, but I just feel like it's kind of boring. Next is Selena Gomez in Louis Vuitton. She's really been gravitating towards these simple, minimalistic looks on the red carpet lately. Very elegant and mature. I'm wondering if it's because she's like in her fiance era. The neck scarf that's like wrapped around to create the train of the dress is really fun, but I do feel like the actual body of the dress could have been just a touch more form-fitting, but the color looks phenomenal on her. Next is Michelle Williams in Chanel. I'm sure that a lot of people will absolutely hate this, but I really like the sort of Regency does Roman vibes, where it's kind of like a toga and there's an empire waistline and it has a sheath skirt. And I also really like the depth that the ruffles add. It's almost like feathers or something. Next is Parker Posey in Valentino. There's a lot going on here. And while I don't necessarily think that it all works together, I'll at least give her points for trying something different. I do like the idea of the capelet, but I feel like it fights for attention with the rest of the dress, which has all of these ruffles and lace and puff sleeves, and I just think it would have been better floor length. Also, the accessories don't really work for it. Like if you notice, the necklace sits exactly where the cape ties, which just creates a sort of messy kind of layering. Next is Alan Cumming in Tanner Fletcher. I really like the contrast piping, which almost gives it a sort of pop art cartoon effect. And I feel like the big bow adds the perfect amount of whimsy and fun, which is very Alan Cumming. He also wore a white version of this to the Creative Arts Emmys a few days ago, which I do think I personally prefer, but I like that by wearing the same thing twice, he kind of tied the two events and awards together. Next is Hunter Schafer in Alexander McQueen. She usually goes in a more edgy direction, so I really like this more timeless elegance, and come on, she looks absolutely stunning. It honestly almost hurts to look at her because she's so beautiful. I honestly feel like this is just a really good example of how you don't need to go over the top. You just need to perfect the basics. Next is Quinta Bruson in Louis Vuitton. I feel like I've seen her in super similar looks a bunch of different times over the years, so this just feels kind of predictable. The color and the design don't really help her stand out, and I also don't love the shape of the cutout. It's just a little bit droopy. Next is Meghann Fahy in Valentino. I think this is supposed to be a riff on a tuxedo jacket, but I don't know if that necessarily reads. Like maybe a little bit of white piping on the sleeves and the neckline, or just keeping the skirt closed so it looked a little bit more formal. Next is Gwendoline Christie in Tom Ford. This silhouette isn't very interesting and somehow manages to actually make her look shorter than she actually is. And I feel like the color just blends into her skin tone, and the hair and makeup don't really match the overall vibe. I'm just confused. Next is Kristen Bell in Armani Privé. The beaded skirt is pretty, the cutouts add the perfect amount of sex appeal, and it definitely looks really good from the back. I just feel like the styling kind of lets it down a bit, but overall, I don't hate it. Next is Leighton Meester in Prada. Leighton is so pretty that making her look basic and boring is a true feat, but you know what? They somehow accomplished it. I feel like the color totally washes her out. The cutouts look like they were added at the very last minute, and the hair kind of feels like it's more appropriate for brunch than the Emmys. Next is Molly Gordon in Giorgio Armani. This was previously worn by Mariah Carey back in the 90s, and I'll be honest, I didn't really love it that time around either. I feel like the striped strapless gown is just very basic, and they're not really playing with the silhouette in any kind of interesting way, and the styling is also pretty lackluster. I know a lot of celebrities decided to wear Armani as an homage to the designer who recently passed, but I just wish that they tried a little bit harder. Next is Colman Domingo in Valentino. This is classic Colman with really great tailoring, pattern mixing, lots of accessories, and just a little bit of bling. I've also been really enjoying this sort of pastel blue and dark brown color combination, and I feel like it's just the right amount of trendy. Next is Chloe Sevigny in Saint Laurent. This sort of edgy historical vibe is very Chloe, so I will give them points for sticking true to her personal style philosophy. And I do feel like if this had been on anybody else, it wouldn't have worked. Next is Carrie Coon in Chanel. I really wanted to like this, but it just doesn't work for me. I do think that the color is lovely on her, and I really like the sort of flowy feminine direction, which is a really nice juxtaposition to everybody else's sort of structured gowns. The raw hem just makes it look kind of unfinished and cheap, and when she's standing still, the skirt is totally lifeless, and I also feel like the shoes are just a little bit too casual for this sort of event, and I've gotta say, where the hell are the accessories? Next is Kathryn Hahn in Valentino. You guys know how I feel about a peplum, and this is no exception. Since it's made out of a different fabric, it's the very first thing that your eye goes to, and I just feel like the edginess of the mesh sleeves don't really play well with the kind of girliness of the bow and the poofiness of the peplum. Next is Cristin Milioti in Danielle Frankel. This was her very first Emmy win, and I just wish that she had been wearing a dress that really lived up to that honor. It just kind of feels like they didn't push it hard enough in either direction. Like the train could have been longer, the bodice could have been more fitted and structured, and the color itself doesn't really pop. I feel like there's a lot of overlap between this look and what Selena Gomez was wearing, but when you put them side by side, I feel like Selena's is just a little bit more interesting. Next is Kaitlyn Dever in Michael Kors. So according to Kaitlyn, this jacket actually originally belonged to her mother, who sadly passed in 2024, which I do think is really, really sweet, as it's kind of a way to like bring her family with her to the event. But I do think that this outfit reads as mom, especially with the updo and the lack of accessories, which kind of just feels a little bit frumpy almost. I just kind of feel like if they'd had the jacket and then buttoned it all the way up to the top and then done like a matching skirt, it would have looked a little bit more cohesive. Next is Abby Elliott in Honor. I think I might be the only person who actually likes this, but I think that the floral print is really sweet. The puffed sleeves are the perfect size for her figure, and I actually think that the belt adds a nice bit of structure and edge. It doesn't read as very Emmy Awards, but I would totally wear this to a dinner party or something. My only problem is how sheer the skirt is. I do feel like it makes it look a little bit cheap and draws too much attention to the corset underpinnings. Next is Lisa in Lever Couture. The shape of this dress is so unreal that I genuinely thought that it was AI at first. The color is super sweet and cotton candy, which I think is a nice change of pace from all of the dark dresses that we saw on the red carpet. And I also think that the color is just really beautiful on her. Leah Lewis actually wore something really similar at the 2024 Oscars, but I think that Lisa's styling worked a bit better. And overall, this is just one of my favorites of the entire night. Next is Chase Sui Wonders in Tom Brown. This is quintessential Thom Browne, where it's a very feminine dress, but with very masculine, tailored touches. Doechii wore something pretty similar to the Grammys earlier this year, and I feel like in comparison, this just isn't as interesting. Also, can I just say that if Anna Sui was my aunt, I don't think that I would wear anything else ever. But maybe that's just because I'm an Anna Sui fangirl. Next is Lisa Ann Walter and Christian Siriano. I could have clocked that this was Christian Siriano from a mile away, but it isn't his worst work. I actually really like how they've positioned the stripes, which really emphasize her figure in all of the best ways. And I do really like the sort of bunched up ruffle straps, which are very fun, but like not overwhelming or distracting. Next is Janelle James in Kuchileli Shaheen. Maybe it's because this is exactly the type of dress that I would wear, but I love it. I think the beadwork is immaculate and adds the perfect amount of detail and fun to a very simple silhouette, and the color looks great on her, and the glam is just right. Next is Brittany Snow in Wiederhoft. Another look that is simple but pretty. I really love the sort of iridescent pink. It's very movie star Barbie, but I just wish she'd had a tiny bit more bling. Next is Pedro Pascal in Celine. I do like the slightly oversized fit of the jacket and the way that the shirt sleeves are kind of poking out, but I feel like the pants are a little too narrow, so the whole look is a bit unbalanced. Next is Jenny Slate in Rosie Asselin. I'm annoyed because I actually really like this dress. The rosette is a great pop of color, the sheer hem has the perfect amount of body, and I feel like the bodice fits her really well, but they really drop the ball with the styling, and it just looks like the dress is wearing her. At the very least, I feel like a sleek bob would have worked better than this wavy one. Next is Sydney Sweeney and Oscar de la Renta. Red is definitely Sydney's color, and anytime she wears it, I think that she just pops. The dress fits her beautifully, and obviously, even though her boobs do look quite prominent, I feel like it's still very balanced everywhere else, which is a problem that I have had with some of her looks in the past. I'm also just a sucker for a shawl, even though I know that some people think that it reads as too prom night. My only thing is I do wish it had been a slightly different fabric. Which celebrity had your favorite look at the 2025 Emmys? That's it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!